Hello and welcome to the Missouri Botanical Garden. I'm Neshka Pfeiffer, Sachs Museum Curator and your host and moderator for the 10-part series, Bioculture, Plants and People Interacting, organized by the William L. Brown Center and made possible by a major grant from the National Endowment for the Humanities. Each of the 10 talks in this series has explored the ways that plants and people interact through the lens of the Missouri Botanical Garden's biocultural collection. The objects in this collection, which range from simple carved wooden spoons to complex herbal compounds, are tangible evidence of the ways that plants and people interact. They are a valuable resource for understanding humanity's biocultural heritage and for the conservation of nature itself. They're also a means of preserving traditional knowledge, documenting livelihoods, and showing the lasting influence of ethnobotany on the diversity of human cultures. The talk today will last approximately 30 minutes with a 20-minute presentation and time at the end for Q&A. Throughout the webinar, we encourage you to use the Q&A function in the box at the bottom of your screen, and we'll sort through your questions and get to as many of them as possible at the end of the presentation. Today's program will be recorded and posted on the Missouri Botanical Garden's YouTube channel in the coming weeks. We are able to offer accessibility features, including ASL interpretation and live captioning, which you can access via the closed caption button at the bottom of your screen. To turn that off or for more options, just click on that closed captioning feature. We respectfully acknowledge that we host this event from the traditional ancestral lands of the Osage Nation, which was historically home to many diverse Native peoples who continue to live and work here. Particularly when speaking about the interaction of plants and people, we want to honor and express gratitude to the Indigenous and local people whose wisdom and innovations have shaped and continue to shape the ways in which we engage with the natural world. I'm going to ask Dr. Robbie Hart, Director of the William L. Brown Center at the Missouri Botanical Garden, to introduce today's speaker.
Thank you, Nishka. The William L. Brown Center at the Missouri Botanical Garden is dedicated to the study of useful plants, understanding the relationships between humans, plants, and their environment, the conservation of plant species, and the preservation of traditional knowledge for the benefit of future generations. Some words about today's speaker. Dr. Armand Randrianasolo is a senior curator at the William L. Brown Center. Armand has a bachelor's degree in biology from the University of Antananarivo, Madagascar, and a master's and PhD degree from the University of Missouri, St. Louis. He supervises the conservation and ethnobotanical activities of the William L. Brown Center in Madagascar. And it gives me great pleasure that our last talk today touches on so many aspects of the William L. Brown Center. First, our biocultural artifact collection and the ways it can drive collaborations with other parts of the garden, such as the Sachs Museum. Second, our superb staff, including Armand and Fortunat, who you'll hear in the video, as well as others who I'm happy to see are here to answer questions. And third, the ongoing work in community-based research and conservation in Madagascar, which is integral to the center's programs. Devin, if you can start the video, I'll let Armand explain a little more about this work.
Hello, everyone. My name is Armand Randrianasolo, and I'm a curator at the William Brown Center of the Missouri Botanical Garden. My role here at the center is to supervise all of the activities the center has in Madagascar. And today, as an example, we are going to have a video to share with you, a video that shows one of the results of the activities that we conduct in Madagascar. But before we put the video on, I would like to take a couple of minutes to explain to you what we have been doing in Madagascar. To start, I would say the Missouri Botanical Garden program in Madagascar is really huge. I think it's the biggest program that the Missouri Botanical Garden has outside the US. The program really revolves in three main areas: research, conservation, and capacity building. And in each of those areas, there are a lot of activities that make really the program a multifaceted program, a really huge program. And we from the William Brown Center definitely contribute to this program. In terms of research, for example, we add another component to it. Generally, the research of a Missouri Botanical Garden in Madagascar is about plant systematic study, taxonomy, if you will. But from the William Brown Center, we add another discipline, which is the ethnobotany, a discipline that focuses on the interaction of people and plants. And our goal in bringing this discipline is to compile the information about plant use by Malagasy people in their everyday life, either that for the medicine that they need, or food that they eat, or anything about plants that they use every day. The second part of what we want to do in ethnobotany is to preserve the traditional knowledge of Malagasy about plant use. As you are going to see in this video, that traditional knowledge can be lost if there is no system how to preserve it. And then we think, working in Madagascar, it's not fair that a future generation of Malagasy don't know about how their ancestors use plants. So in our activities, we include a system of activities to preserve the traditional knowledge of Malagasy about plant use. Okay, I know that it's not very long, the session that we have today, so I'm going to stop. But before I stop, I would like to say a couple of words about the people who helping us or are supporting us about the activities that we do in Madagascar. And in particular, I would like to thank the family of Susan Lanigan, who help us, my team and I, to carry out the activities that we've been doing for quite a few years in Madagascar. So I would like to sincerely thank them for their support. Okay, now it's time, I guess, to put the video on, and a video that shows the list of plants that Malagasy people use for traditional music instruments. And finally, we are going to be here after the video to answer any question you might have. Anyway, thank you very much. Bye.
Faly miarahaba antsika rehetra. Fortuna Rakotoarvony ny anarako, isan'ireo mpiasa ao amin'ny William Brown Center aty Madagasikara. Ny fisian'ny fandaharana asa Missouri Botanical Garden aty Madagasikara, izay manana ny sampana William Brown Center, nazahoanay alalana hanatanteraka ireo asa fikarohana nataonay, izay mifatoka indrindra amin'ny fikarohana momba ny zava-maniry sy ny fiarovana ny tontolo iainana sy ny faritra miaraka amin'ny mponina ny fotony, ary ny fikarohana momba ny fifandraisam-ponina amin'ny zava-maniry manodidina azy. Miisa 5 zahay no misehatra amin'ny fanaovana fikarohana momba ny fifandraisan'ny olona amin'ny zava-maniry, ka ny manangona ireo mitotam-pahalalana momba ny zava-maniry ampiasain'ny olona. Isan'izany ny zava-maniry fanofana fody sy ireo karazam-bakoka vita amin'ny zava-maniry, ka mitahiry kolontsaina sy izay rehetra mety ho fifandraisan'ny olona sy zava-maniry manodidina azy. Nanomboka tamin'ny taona lasa nefa izahay dia nanitatra ny sehatra iasana amin'ny fanaovana fikarohana momba ny karazan-java-maniry ampiasain'ny olona amin'ny fiainany andavanandro ka maneho ny kolontsaina misy ny fotony. Ezahanay amin'izany ary ny mamantatra amin'ny fifandraisan'ny olona amin'ny zava-maniry manodidina azy miaro ireo karazam-pahalalana nentim-paharazana momba ny zava-maniry ka hanovanay fanoratana boky momba ireo zava-maniry ireo. Eo ihany koa ny famoahana lahatsoratra ny siantifika fa indrindra ny fanatevenana ny antotam-pahalalana efa misy amin'ny hangom-pahalalana izay azo. Manolotra ihany koa izahay soso-kevitra mba ahazahoan'ny taranaka faramandiby miantoka ny fampiasana maharitra. Androany ary dia mahafaly anay no mizara aminareo ny karazan-java-maneno malagasy nentim-paharazana izay voahangonay. Manana ny lanjany lehibe amin'ny fiainan'ny malagasy izy ireo, indrindra mandritra ny avoriana enina nankafaliany izany nankaratsiana, sy mandritra ny fanatanterahana fomba mampanao nentim-paharazana toy ny amin'ny alalan'ny bilo na ny tromba ohatra. Ny faritra isanisana manerana amin'ny nosy dia samy manana ny mampiavaka azy izay mety hisy ifandraisana na avy amin'ny fiavian'ireo razambentsika na avy amin'ny karazana bankira sy ireo karazana zava-maneno ampiasaina. Ny tanjonay tamin'ity fanangonan'ireo karazana zava-maneno izay vao natomboka tsy ela izay ity dia ny fanangonan'ireo karazana zava-maneno avy amin'ny faritra samihafa. Ny fanangonana ny antotan-kevitra misy momba ireo zava-maneno ireo toy ny famantarana ny karazana zava-maniry nampiasaina nanamboarana azy, ny toerana nangalana azy, ny fanadihadiana ny mety ho mbola ampiatsahan'ireo zava-maniry ireo, ny fomba filalaovan'ireo zava-maneno, ny vanim-potoana ampiasaina azy ary indrindra famantarana ny tantarany raha misy, ny famantarana raha azo atao, ny fomba fiampitan'ny fahaiza-manaon'ireo mpampiasa azy amin'ny taranaka faramandimby. Ankehitriny ny fampiasan'ireo zava-maneno nentim-paharazan'ireo dia efa tena adino tanteraka noho ny firoborobony ny ahitao momba ny feo. Mpanakanto vintsy anisan'izany ireo malagasy, mpanakanto monina ny ivelan'i Madagasikara ny mbola miezaka manome lanja ny fampiasan'ireo zava-maneno ireo mba hampisongandinany tenany fa eo ihany koa ny mety ho fitadiavan'ny vola. Na izany aza dia efa tsy mandeha irery ny fampiasan'ireo zava-maneno ireo fa efa ampivadiny amin'ny karazana zava-maneno moderna. Azo lazaina ho tena vitsy sisa raha misy ny zazankehitriny mbola mahay sy mampiasa ireny karazana zava-maneno ireny. Efa tena azo lazaina ho very izany ny fiampitan'ny fahalalàn'ireo karazana zava-maneno ireo amin'ny taranaka aty afara. Amin'ireo karazana zava-maneno nangonina ireo dia misy ny mitovy anarana sy ny fomba fampiasa azy, nefa dia samy hafa kosa ny karazan-kazo nanamboarana azy. Raha jerentsika izao ny mandoliny sy ny kabosy, samy zava-maneno tendrena izay nalaina avy tany amin'ny faritra telo samy hafa dia samy manana ny mampiavaka azy, na eo amin'ny endriny na eo amin'ny karazan-kazo nanamboarana azy. Ny kabosy avy any Ambalabe dia vita tamin'ny albizia izay anisan'ireo karazan-kazo zanatany. Ny mandaliny avy any Analavela dia vita tamin'ny sakoa izay karazan-kazo zanatany ihany koa. Ny manaliny avy any Mahabo anefa dia vita avy amin'ny baby izay karazan-kazo tsy fahita raha tsy eto Madagasikara. Mitovy anefa ny fampiasan'ny olona ireo karazan-java-maneno avy amin'ny faritra telo ireo dia samy entina hamalifaliana amin'ny fety sy mandritra ny fitsaboana nentim-paharazana. Ho an'ireto karazan-java-maneno manaraka reto indray dia ny marovany izany izay nalaina tany amin'ny faritra roa samihafa izay samy any atsimo, fa ny iray avy any atsimo atsinanana dia Mahampifarafangana ary ny iray avy any atsimo andrefana dia Analavela Sakara. Ilay marovany avy any Analavela dia vita tamin'ny karazan-kazo tsy fahita raha tsy eto Madagasikara, no sady efa ho tany domondoza dia ny monongo zany. Fa ny valia marovany avy any Mahabo kosa dia vita amin'ny vantsila, mbola karazan-kazo tsy fahita raha tsy eto Madagasikara ihany koa. Ampiasaina ity karazan-java-maneno ity entina malifaliana mandritra ny fetim-pianakaviana sy antsana anjotsoana fanasy bilo mba hitsaboana. Ny karazan-java-maneno tsofina indray dia ny sodina sy ny kiloloka dia samy vita avy amin'ny karazana volo. Ny sodina dia vita avy amin'ny volon-drano avy amin'ny faritra voatany eto Madagasikara. Ary ny kiloloka izay avy any amin'ny faritra atsimo andrefana dia vita tamin'ny voloando. Samy vita tamin'ny karazana volo mitovy ihany izy ireo na dia samy hafa aza ny fiantso azy. Ny ray voloando, ny ray volon-drano. Karazan-java-maniry tsy fahita raha tsy eto Madagasikara izy ireo. Natao ampifalifaliana sy ampiala voly ity karazan-java-maneno iray ity. Ny any amin'ny faritra atsimo andrefana any moa dia ampiasain'ny mpiarak'andro analany fahanginana. Ho an'ny valia izay karazan-java-maneno tendrena indray dia avy eto voatany ary vita tamin'ny vologasy izay anisan'ny karazan-java-maniry tsy fahita raha tsy eto Madagasikara ihany koa. Ampiasaina izy io entina malifaliana sy ampialaina voly rehefa misy fotoana ilana azy manokana. Ny kayamba dia karazana koritsana vita tamin'ny vologasy, nasiana vonina ambaradeda tao anatiny. Vita tany amin'ny faritra Atsinanana izy ity ary tsy dia mandeha irery loatra ny filalaovana azy fa ampiarahana amin'ny karazan-java-maneno hafa ary ampiasaina mandritra ny miantsa na manjotso fanasy bilo mandritra ny fitsaboana nentim-paharazana. Ny lokanga dia karazan-java-maneno tendrena, nalaina tany Ambalabe any amin'ny faritra Atsinanana Madagasikara. Namboarina tamin'ny albizy ihany vatany, karazan-java-maniry zanatany fa ny fitendrena azy kosa dia vita tamin'ny tendrom-poina, izay karazan-java-maniry tsy fahita raha tsy eto Madagasikara. Ny resaka famalifaliana sy fampialana volon'ny olona mandritra ny fety no tena ampiasana azy. Ny jejo voatafy kosa indray dia avy any Analavelona Sakara, avy any amin'ny faritra atsimo andrefana. Karazan-java-maneno tendrena vita tamin'ny tambazotsy, karazan-java-maniry zanatany sy ny voatavy monta izay karazan-java-maniry vahiny efa nisy ela teto amintsika. Ampiasaina ity karazan-java-maneno ity mandritra ny fitsaboana nentim-paharazana mba hanjotsoana fanahy sy bilo. Ireo ary ny karazan-java-maneno voangonay ho amin'ity fampisehoana ity. Inonay fa nanampy anareo tamin'ny fahafantarana ny kolotsaina malagasy, ny fizarana izay nataonay androany na dia fohy sy kely aza. Mankasitraka amin'ny fiainonareo anay, misaotra tompoko.
Thank you all so much. That was such a fabulous presentation and sharing of information. I've got a question for you all. How did you identify the music makers, the instrument makers and the musicians to collect the instruments?
Yes, I can explain why you choose the music instrument is depending on the site you work first. We go to the site we work and ask people about the traditional instrument they use, and after ask people about the species they use to wield it, and after ask people, the people who can wield it, to play with this instrument. And that is the method that you use to choose the instrument choose the musician and something like that.
Did you have to go to each of these communities and find them? Yes, I can hear you, Armand.
Hello?
Great.
Try again.
Oh, perfect, Armand. Okay, now I can hear you.
Okay. Man, a little bit of a problem to get the computer working. Mine is completely doesn't even get another computer doesn't get even the link working.
Gotcha.
So like I said, I mean, when you go to a place, you don't know what type of instrument they have in that place. So we went to the first couple of sites that we work on, Anambala Bay and then Analaville. And then from there, we do some kind of a survey a little bit, or do some kind of a investigation and ask people. And then once you know what type of instruments, and then you hear me?
Yes, please go ahead.
Okay. And then that way we choose things. And then this is just a sample. We just kind of jump on this project, but we are going to gather more information about the different region of Madagascar. And because those are not the only one traditional music instruments in Madagascar, that's the part of the southwest and the southeast of Madagascar. The north, we are going to, in the future, we are going to do more about this.
Oh, that's fabulous news. I'm so excited to hear that. We do have a couple of questions for you. So one is from Robbie, and were these musicians amateur or professional that you were working with?
The definition of a professional is like maybe kind of going to get money or living for the instrument, but those are just amateur, I think, because they are people from the community and they don't do it for a living, but they just kind of love to music and then play the instruments. So
right. Exactly. Well, and I had a question for you also. The sodina, which is one of the flutes that you collected, is a very famous, there was a very famous sodina player, right, in Madagascar history. Could you explain a little bit about who he was?
There is a person that was popular all over Madagascar about the Sudan. And you said Sudina or Sudan?
Yeah,
Sudan, we call it
I don't know how to pronounce them. I'm sorry.
We call it Sudna. That's the pronunciation. And then his name is Rakutfra. And then he passed away, but during his time, he go in Europe, all over the world, just to play that instruments. And he didn't, I mean, he didn't know about this from school or anything, but it's just traditionally he learned how to play the Sudan. But he's a professional at the end of his life.
Right. Thank you for explaining that. Another question. Our questioner was very impressed at how many of the plant species that were used to make the instruments are endemic to Madagascar. And so how did you identify these plant species?
Well, Tabitha, you want to?
Yes. Because we worked before in the 3 sets that we collected the musical instruments. So we did collection of some plants. So when they gave us the Malagasy name of the plant, we go to the collect that people have already made before at the site. For example, the babi and the munungu and all of those species, we have already did the collection because we have already did some ethnobotanical work in the three sites. So it's like compiling the information we have to the information we had before.
Oh, that's
Basically, I just add a little bit. Basically, when at the site that we work, there are already kind of a ethnobotanical survey, and people say this is for instrumental music and so on, and then we collect, of course, some vouchers of plants, and then we identify them correctly. So it's always easier to know what species they use because of the work that we do before in terms of knowing useful plants in the community.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much. And also, I want to let everybody know that all of the instruments that you've seen in this fabulous video are actually going to be on view at the garden at the Sax Museum starting tomorrow. In fact, the special exhibition that these were collected for is called Botanical Resonance, Plants and Sounds in the Garden, which will be up through the end of March of 2023. And it explores how all of the different plants, or as many as possible, that are used to make musical instruments around the world. And there's a wonderful feature on all of the work that this team from Madagascar did collecting these. And I'm so excited to hear that you're going to be collecting more to add to the collection. Thank you so much for this excellent talk and information, and for sharing all these wonderful answers to the questions. I want to thank everyone who's joined us for this series. And Armand, is there anything else you'd like to add before we end the talk shortly?
Yeah, a little bit. When we put the title of this show today, and we said Malagasy musicalis, of course, we are not musician or musicology or something like that, but being a botanist, you want to give name about the sounds from Madagascar. It's kind of a fictitious stuff, but being kind of a transform as a being botanist to give a binomial name, Malagasy musicalis. That I want to explain that.
Oh, I'm glad you did. That makes perfect sense now. Thank you. Thank you. That's great. So thank you everyone for your fabulous work, for putting this wonderful talk together. And I want to thank everyone who attended today and throughout our entire series of bioculture, plants and people interacting. We hope you've enjoyed exploring this range of plants and people interacting, and we hope we'll be able to see you all again at some point in the future. Thank you and have a wonderful day and evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.